Hello everyone and welcome to the NgRx with NgRx Data, the complete guide. I'm Vasco from the Angular University and I will be your instructor for this course. This course is all about state management in Angular. We are going to cover how to add state management to our application using the NgRx library and the multiple packages available in its ecosystem. In this course, you will get a complete guided tour of the NgRx ecosystem, and this is going to include NgRx Store, NgRx Effects, the NgRx development tools. We are also going to be covering NgRx Entity, and we are going to cover the brand new package NgRx Data as well. But most of all, this course is about state management in Angular in general. So although we are using specifically the NgRx packages, we are going to be covering things such as, for example, what is state management, when should we use it in an application, what are the benefits, what are the downsides, and what are the design trade-offs. This means that a lot of the knowledge in this course, although it's an NgRx specific course, will also be applicable to any other Angular state management library in general. We have chosen NgRx because it's the most popular state management solution and for good reasons. If you already know NgRx, you might still want to take this course because we are about to cover a brand new API that makes it a lot easier to create multiple actions, reducers, effects, etc. and use NgRx in general without creating a lot of boilerplates. So that was one of the main downsides of previous versions. We had to create a lot of code in order to use the library properly. That's not the case anymore. We have a brand new API that removes a lot of the need for repeated code. So this version of NgRx that we are about to cover in this course, it's much better and much easier to use than previous versions. We are also going to be covering NgRx Data, which is a package for handling entity data that allows us to use the state management solution while writing even less code than if we would manually have to write our reducers, selectors, etc. So let's quickly go through the structure of the course and our teaching approach. We are going to start our course with a small Angular application that does not have any state management yet. So we are going to understand what are the problems of this initial version of the application and what are the benefits of a state management solution. Then we are going to progressively refactor the application and add state management to its multiple screens one by one. We are going to start by introducing NgRx Store. We are going to introduce the developer tools. We are going to configure all the development environment and we are going to dispatch our first action and create our first reducer. Then from there, we are going to progressively add new concepts. We are going to introduce the notion of effects and we are going to introduce also the notion of selectors while we, in this initial part of the course, implement the authentication module of the application. Once we have a good foundation on the main concepts of NgRx, we are then going to start to handle entity data. So we are going to be loading a list of courses in our application by using the NgRx Entity package. We are going to learn how to use NgRx Entity to load the data from the backend and keep it in the store and only load it again if we need it. So we are going to be keeping the data in memory between screen navigations and we won't be fetching the data each time from the backend whenever we navigate to a given screen. We are also going to learn how to use NgRx Entity to implement optimistic UI updates. With this strategy, we are going to be allowing the user to immediately edit the data and see the changes directly in the UI without any delay, while in the background we are still saving the data to the backend. So this will give the user a much better user experience where the screen does not constantly freeze with loading indicators that prevent the user from doing further actions with the user interface. After implementing this functionality using NgRx Entity and the Entity format, we are then going to introduce NgRx Data. So NgRx Data is a new package for handling entity type data such as, for example, courses, lessons, etc. So this is the type of business data in our application that typically gets written and read from a database. we're going to be using NgRx Data to implement the same functionality that we did manually with NgRx Entity, but this time around with a lot less code. We're going to see how to use the default behavior of NgRx Data to implicitly write all the code needed for doing our backend calls, our reducer logic, our action dispatching, etc. We are also going to be learning how to customize the behavior of NgRx Data in case that the default behavior is not exactly what we need for our application. We will also be talking about NgRx best practices throughout the course, such as, for example, good action hygiene. At the end of this course, you will feel comfortable designing and developing applications using state management and the centralized store solution in general. You will feel comfortable designing new applications using NgRx, and you will have in-depth knowledge in the complete NgRx ecosystem. And this is going to include the store solution, the effects package. You are going to learn in detail how to set up and customize the NgRx Dev Tools. You are going to understand in detail the NgRx Entity package and the entity format, and you will know how to use and customize, if necessary, NgRx Data. So I hope that you will enjoy the course. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions about the course. And without further ado, let's get started learning NgRx together. Thank you for watching, and I will see you inside the course.